Hey everyone, I figured I'd just do a quick little update as to what's going on right now. I'll probably put this into a bigger video, but I threw these on in a temporary location. They might stay here, but they're not even bolted on. It's just JB welded and siliconed. But it's a little bit different. These came off of, well, they're new, but they were designed for, I believe, an R30 or R31 Skyline or something like that. I'm not positive. But either way, they're pretty cheap, like 35, 40 bucks. And I painted the inner housings of these. And all the holes are broken, so I filled them with silicone because silicone's my best friend. And I just threw new screws through it. And they're slightly larger in diameter, so they cut into the previous slot or bore hole on the other side, I guess, and it's pretty snug. So no more tape holding that on, which the lens did fall apart a couple times driving, so that's not a problem anymore. Other side looks a little bit newer, but either way, I think it came out pretty cool. It looks pretty clean, and now the whole front end kind of has a dark tone to it, and it all matches. Not much else I want to do up here on the front end, other than I kind of want to repaint these because they're a little bit lighter of a black, and I did a bad job, and I need to hit behind here too. I just kind of rushed through them, threw like 2 coats on it, just because this looked a little bit bad. I mean, it obviously still does up close, but it looked weird having the body color here with the lights looking like that. But yeah, I can do that really quickly. I'll probably do that at the same time that I do the rest of this trim, which I was considering today. I'll see where my motivation takes me. But these need to be black. I'm really not a fan of chrome at all, and it's pretty much the only bit of chrome in the car, except on the rear window as well. And then once those are gone, all the chrome's gone. I want to repaint all of this. It's all scuffed with Scotch-Brite, ready to paint. I need to make metal replacement panels to weld in here, so that it's clean, or just fill the holes behind here. There's pretty large size holes where the adjustments go through. But that's pretty much it. All my holes are filled along the car. I have to Bondo or spot putty them depending, and then this one I slipped up so bad, and yeah, I'll probably have to re-weld that. But I just sprayed a huge amount of paint over it so it didn't rust for now. Before I decided to do the body filler because I'm taking my time with it a little bit. But I filled the bottom as well and painted it. It looks a lot cleaner, I think, even now than when it had the fading gray trim that was peeling off of it. So I'm pretty happy with the way it looks. I'm honestly considering painting the whole car this color for now. This is Kona brown, and you just get it at Walmart in spray cans. We literally got this last year for Brody's car as a test. It's a little bit redder than his brown. I have the side skirts right here. I mean, it's very noticeably different, but regardless, I had no idea that this would match my paint so well. It's just completely by chance. So if I were to spray the entire car with this, which it's also a primer, and that's kind of the point, it would look pretty much like it did, well, many years ago, I guess. And I can fill in all of this so that when I come in with real paint, it's you know, a smooth, even layer. Otherwise, I'm going to see a lot of this behind it, even after sanding, unless I get really meticulous. The big thing that's been making me take my time painting this is right here. I don't want to have to do this later. I want to get this done before I bother with all this stuff. And I don't know how to get this off. I should probably try some Goo Gone or something, and as you probably can imagine, if it doesn't work, I'm just going to take a wire wheel to it or an angle grinder or something. I'm not really all that worried. I mean, no matter what, it's coming off. I don't like that. I see why they did it, especially with the other trim on there. It came out even further. I'm also considering, I've never seen this done, and I don't know if this is safe to do. I may have mentioned it before. I want to take a cutting wheel and cut all along this rain guard slash seam, whatever it is. It looks like it holds the metal together in a pinch. So I think it's structural, but oh yeah, either way, I think I want to cut that and then weld all along here maybe, because it is a very odd line. And this piece here is only here to conceal a weld, which maybe I could clean up and smooth all this out so this looks, you know, completely smooth. That would definitely be a different look for a 240. And it's kind of a strange bubbly look from the side. It actually is a very similar profile to this. A little bit harder to tell because the window mirror, but it's kind of strange to look at that profile, and they're pretty much the same, aside from being slightly more rounded, obviously, with the S60. But that's pretty much all I've done. Spray over this foam, pretend it doesn't exist. Looks brand new. I just took the seat out too, as you can see. And I've already cleaned under here. But today, I kind of wanted to start looking more into where I'm going to mount my hydraulic e-brake, and also my spray to break out the sound deadening should be here tomorrow, I think. It's in the town over. So I want this seat out anyways, just so I can get in here easily and break everything out. I'm going to have to pull that seat too, because there is a layer of sound deadening underneath it still. I haven't gotten to that side. Pull out some of those last remaining airbag wires and whatever else. And this back is going to look clean. I don't know if you can recall, but that looks far from perfect. But that was a big gouge that went through the body. These are all like bolt holes and stuff. All that's filled now. Bolt holes down here. You pretty much can't tell. That one isn't very perfect at all either. There's a few spots that I kind of wanted to go back at and fill in a little bit more, because I did want this rear to look pretty clean when I'm done. I just want it to look really shiny. I'm not going to make it too insane or anything, but I am going to need to put a bar in here for a harness. I'm not sure what I'm going to have to do. I'm considering maybe making my own. Oh, sorry, I'm zoomed way in. Maybe coming off the ceiling and then bolting onto that arch or something. And then maybe directly up to the door. I'm not sure, but there should be some way to weld maybe from that point up to there, and I can have enough structure on each side and a bar across to support the harness bar for the seats. I have Brody's other cheap, like $50 racing adjustable seat for now that I can put in here, he said. And he gave me the, I don't know where it went, but the bracket for it is also in here somewhere, but it doesn't fit at all, so I'm gonna have to cut it apart and make it fit. I mean, it's completely off, every hole is off, so it's basically gonna be used as just a base of scrap metal, and it's like a rectangle, so I can just use that rectangle and make all my own mounts from there to save $150. That's a bit much. I think that's kind of steep for just a seat bracket, so I'm gonna do it that way for now. I would like a better seat eventually. I think that's kind of an important aspect of a good quality car. You want to have a nice seat. Obviously, you don't want to get cheap Tanaka harnesses or whatever. You want to spend what you can on all the safety aspects. Just gonna throw this out here. We're in Australia, apparently. I have to burn all these down. I get like a spider infestation along this seam every year. I have to burn them down with a torch. Well, I guess I don't have to burn them down with a torch, but that's the satisfactory way, I guess, for me, because I'm a sadist or something. But yeah, that's that. I'll keep you updated. I might go run to Walmart and spend like $10, get like 3 cans of paint, and once this is all sanded smooth, like this stuff layers on so fast. This is one coat. And like the base goal, like I was saying, is just so that it's a primer for real paint later. And like if I do dent this thing up or anything like that, I can just you know, toss another little quick coat of paint over it, and it's not a huge deal. Last but not least, I do kind of want to throw a little quick exhaust tip on this or something just in the meantime. Or I mean, I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm running out of little things to do, so I might actually fab up a new exhaust soon. I want it to exit down there, or on the other side, vice versa, whichever's easier. I don't remember what it looks like underneath, but I do want to make metal side skirts, like I was saying, that mount, or well, weld on roughly here, and then they'll probably come down around here, and then I'll have a cutout for a pipe, probably a 3-inch tip or something. I don't want to go like too ridiculous with like a 4-inch. But I think a 3-inch would look pretty mean. probably be running a 2.5-inch diameter pipe up to the headers or something. I'm not positive yet. I think it's running, like looking at it now, that's a 2.5, and it looks to be maybe a little bit thinner, so it's probably running like a 2 or a 2.25-inch diameter all the way back. That's not terrible. I mean, there's definitely no flow issues for a 100 horsepower engine, but I want it to sound a little bit ricier and raspier than it already does. It sounds pathetic, let me just admit that. But I think that it might even sound better if I do move it that way, so that might come soon. That's not that big of a job. I can probably get that done in a couple hours. And weight is a big thing too in this case. I really like the idea of having a very well balanced 50-50 distribution and everything else, but when you have such a lack of power, and I don't even have a manual transmission right now, it's very hard to keep the car sideways, as you can probably imagine. So I'm trying to limit the weight in the rear at any cost whatsoever, at least for now. So where was I going with that? I don't know. Oh yeah, I don't want any exhaust back here or anything. I want to remove some more of this bumper apparatus. I was thinking about making my own bash bar. I think that will take probably a good 20 pounds off the rear if I remove all that and just have a metal bar. And I was thinking about down here extending this and then angling it upward when that time comes. I haven't seen this without this piece here. I'm a little bit nervous to see how rotted it is, but I'm sure it's going to look kind of goofy when that's missing. The reason I haven't taken it off yet is the bolts are stripped on this part. I can probably pull it out with enough force, but they weren't coming out. They're just spinning in place. So I mean, I'll get to it, but getting all that weight out will be important if I can. And then in here, obviously not having any of this should take out another like rough 20 or 30 pounds out of the car. And I mean, like I said, I'm getting pretty crazy with this eventually. The smallest bits all add up. So I want to come in here eventually with a cutting wheel and basically cut along all these seams and cut out anything that, you know, will not change the ability for it to hold up this metal. Like say if I were to chop this whole beam out, this would probably like kind of flop around when you put any weight on it. So I want it to retain some of its rigidity. But yeah, I think just milling out all that so that it's clean should probably take out another, I don't know, 2 or 3 pounds. Cutting out all up here and stuff. This is pretty thick metal. I mean, not really, but in contrast to some of the other metal I've seen in automotive application. Not much else can be done back here though. I was considering after chopping all this with some of that weight reduced, maybe I can pull a shock out of this and stuff too. If it can still support that weight without it, or without having two of them. But it's all very small stuff. It all really makes a very minute difference, but I guess when you add it all up, that's the difference between a car that's designated for this purpose and a car that isn't. So, I mean, it's all the small free things and, you know, the cheap, easy stuff that I can get done without much planning, and whatever I can do to help get it to a place where I can have a lot of fun with it. It's pretty fun for what it is. You wouldn't anticipate this being a fun machine to drive, at least now, but it gets some reactions, I'll tell you that much. With the torque rods clunking all over the place, it sounds like it's about to fall apart, and I'm sure most people think that I could break down at any second, and I have broken down once, but it ended up just being the fuel pump fuse coming out in the engine bay. It's a pretty bad design, and the clip broke from the previous owner or something, so I like zip tied the fuse into the spot, so that's not falling out again. But either way, that's that. I'll let you know what's going on.